And I'll turn on closed caption for those that might want to be able to follow along. And yeah, if you go ahead and put your name and the organization in the chat, that will help like with the minutes.
Hey, Ted, where are you?
I'm in my car outside my children's school because I get to pick them up and take them out to the Fox Valley after this for a hockey tournament. So they get out early. I pick them straight up from here and we go.
Well, those are some great looking trees in the background there.
It is the Midway Plaisance, Bob.
What's that?
It is the Midway Plaisance.
Ah, okay.
Beautiful Hyde Park. So your kids are at the lab school, Ted?
Yeah.
Awesome. I had a long talk with somebody this week in Boston about Dewey and his ideas
And
about
his system.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
There's those great pictures in the school too, of like kids back in the 20s, like shearing sheep and stuff.
Totally. Imagine if they had to do that today.
Oh.
Like, what is this?
Exactly.
So Ted, you're coming to the Fox Valley Ice Arena where
I
the
am.
Forest Preserve is.
I am.
Enjoy.
Yes. Yeah, where the Steel play, right? For
Yeah.
another hot minute or two. Yep.
Cool.
We will be there today, tomorrow, and I think Sunday morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It never ends there. Yeah.
I know.
Sorry about that. All right. I'll keep watch for folks to join us. And I think we can get started.
So who's running this meeting?
I'm pulling up the agenda. I think it starts with me, right?
Yes, it does. So
Yeah, what's
I think
new
what we
with
can do, I think what we should do first is we should go around and do introductions. I'm Laura Riley. I'm the managing director of Chicago Wilderness Alliance. And thanks for joining us. And I'll turn it over to Ted.
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Ted Hafner, and I am the Green Vision Coordinator for Chicago Wilderness Alliance. That means I do this with all the other groups and coordinate them and see what rises to the top and what themes cross-cut and all of that. I will pass it along to Tim or Michelle.
All right. Tim Brennan. I'm Vice President of Programs and Strategic Impact at Farm Foundation. Michelle.
Michelle Blackburn, Forest Preserve District of Kane County, Agricultural Coordinator. And Lake.
Hi, I'm Lake Schulke. I am the program assistant with Chicago Wilderness. I'll be helping out taking notes, and I'll send it over to Lucas.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Lucas Chamberlain with Delta Institute. I run their agriculture programs there, so I'm happy to be sharing this afternoon with everyone, and I'll hand it off to Jillian.
Hi, I'm Jillian Marston. I use she, her pronouns. I'm over at American Farmland Trust as Illinois Farmland Protection Specialist. And I will pass it to, sorry, I'm having a hard time viewing. If anyone hasn't gone yet.
Alexis?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis Barnes. I am a local food systems and small farms educator serving DuPage, Keene, and Kendall for University of Illinois Extension.
Bob, do you want to go next?
Yeah, yeah, I'm Bob Hoyer, H&A Networks Consulting in Evanston, and project lead for the committee's Building Chicagoland's Local Farm Economy project. I will pass it to Sam.
Hi, Sam. I'm here representing myself today, but I work with the Illinois Agri-Food Alliance as the projects and office coordinator.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. Good to see some new faces and folks we haven't seen in a while. So really happy to have you here. A big thanks to Laura and Ted and Bob for our cafe program that we did. Gosh, when was that? 10 days ago or so? I don't even remember.
Tim, did you want me to pull up the presentation? Would that be helpful? Or do you just want to speak off the cuff?
Yeah, I'm not gonna, I won't go through. I will encourage people to watch it. It's available on the Chicago Wilderness website as a recording, right, Laura?
Yes, it is. I'll drop a link.
Okay, excellent. And Laura, do you remember how many folks we had in attendance for that?
I don't recall in attendance. What did I say? We had 71 register for it. Yeah.
So I think one thing we uncovered in this is Bob Bennison did an article. He has a local food blog that he does. That's kind of the city and Lake County seems to be the areas that he covers. And he reported to Bob a week or so before our event that the article that Bob had written had been one of the biggest he'd ever done. And I happened to go back and look at it again last week, and it had over 2,200 views. I think he was really impressed that it had 200 views 10 days earlier. So clearly there's a lot of interest throughout the area about this topic. I was in Boston this week at MIT for the Google Food Lab, which is a program they do twice a year that is focused really very broadly on food and agriculture and, you know, understanding where food and ag are headed. It was really a fascinating thing, but it was great because they have a pitch session that you do. And so I was telling people about Chicago Wilderness, and so many folks were interested in the work that we're doing, particularly around the Regenerative Agriculture Center that Bob is going to talk about. Yeah, just so much momentum. Another thing I wanted to mention is on June 25th, the American Farmland Trust and my organization, Farm Foundation, are going to be doing a forum. It's at 9 a.m. It's 2 hours long, and it's going to focus on agriculture as a driver for reinvigorating rural communities. And if you are a fan of Julia Friedgood, like I am, I don't know if you could see this book. She wrote this absolutely fantastic book, Planning Sustainable and Resilient Food Systems. She's going to be one of our presenters. I think she is just phenomenal on this topic. We've got some great other folks coming to the forum, but we will also talk about the Piatone project as part of that forum. The forums, by the way, attract people from all around the world. We can have anywhere from 100 to 800 people participating in them. So it's a good chance to get some information out to folks. And so rural resilience and rebuilding communities around agriculture was a big topic at the Google Food Summit, particularly because of the cuts at USDA, USAID, as well as just the impacts of everything else that is being cut. We are deeply concerned at Farm Foundation about the massive cuts proposed to the Farm Bill, particularly to the SNAP programs. You know, SNAP returns more money than it spends, and it returns a lot of that money to farmers' pockets. I think we're deeply concerned about the middle farmer, particularly here in the Midwest. By middle farmer, I mean farmers that are farming between 12 and 2,000 acres. I think they're most in danger of going out of business pretty quickly if things continue the way that they are. Of course, with every radical change, there's opportunity. I just see a lot of 10,000 plus acre farms coming out of this as energy producers and meat producers, and then a lot of small farms producing vegetables, fruits, nuts, other products, value-added products. And the key to every farm surviving what's happening and what will happen over the next few years is diversification, and our farmers need support in diversification. And Alexis, I'm sure you know this better than I do. But the problem with diversification is always infrastructure. without markets and processing, it's extremely difficult unless you're doing an at-home business like a flower, pick your own flower operation. It's pretty challenging. So the work that we're proposing at the center that Bob's going to talk about here in a minute I think has become 10 times more important than it was just a year ago. So with that, Bob, I will pass it over to you to talk about what you're up to.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Tim, and thanks everybody. It's good to see some new faces. We're trying to get this Growing with Ag Committee up and running in alignment with, what is it, Ted? There are 3 other committees that are gonna sort of come together through a community planning process for the 7 square mile Peatone Airport site on this project.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah.
Water, climate, food, and people.
Yeah.
And protection.
Yeah, so the project has been in design stage really for a number of years through Chicago Wilderness Alliance, looking to line up a fiscal sponsor. And the working title of the project is Building Chicagoland's Local Farm Economy, looking at the 3-county area, the South Metro Chicago area, as a surround for the entire 7 square miles. Get a series of dialogue processes going together through the project. One will connect Joliet with Pembroke Township, Kankakee, get the food system innovators who are looking how to grow their projects and support community reinvestment. And the gold standard is really the Auburn Gresham project, the 9-acre Urban Growers Collective and Green Era. They have a number of acres of brownfield site now producing organic food. They've got an anaerobic digester, turning food waste into a wealth of important assets. And so the project will combine storytelling. We really want to lay the groundwork to establish a regional organization. Tim, I came upon a quote that when we were talking to CMAP, the regional planning agency, Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, they'd hired a consultant out of Dallas to help them figure out an economic development plan. They began to look at agriculture, and this is really what our project can design. We want to bring together a set of partners to deliver on this recommendation from a CMAP 22 economic development report. And it was the goal to grow Chicagoland's agriculture, ag tech, and food processing center into the national model for equitable growth and innovation. So with that vision and that goal in mind, we're looking at 4 project components. There'll be a storytelling, communications, just really anyone on the food system innovation, get a whole media dialogue going. Secondly, an agri-food asset map where we're going to design a regional economic investment model. Number 3 is the community planning process that will be grounded, really anchored in that 7 square miles with the Chicago Wilderness Alliance climate plan as sort of the organizing principle. And the 4th point is a financial partnership goal. I'm actually in conversation. It was on Wednesday, I was down in Springfield for the Black Farmer Grower Lobby Day. I'm helping Rep Harper, Illinois House Ag Conservation Committee Chair, putting together a project for a Illinois local food finance policy working group. And the idea is by January to be able to present state policymakers with options to support the growth and development of community-based farm and food infrastructure from Waukegan to Cairo. So with that, so I will be looking forward to any input as this goes forward, and I'm going to be doing more stories with Bob Benenson. I hope to have one next week on the trip to Springfield last Wednesday, so stay tuned.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, thank you. Michelle, do you want to talk about our 2025 Field Day? Always the best time of the year. I think you're muted still, Michelle. Michelle, you're muted.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Laura, for putting this agenda together and the notes for keeping us on track together. So our update on our field day, do we have the
You want me to pull up
slide?
yeah, I'll pull up the slides, Michelle. Hold on. There you go.
Cool, thanks. So far, we've been talking about a few different locations and adding some, taking some away. This is a good start, I think, for our different locations. Obviously, these areas have to be contacted, and I added in the Legends Farm. I've been talking to the Conservation Fund, and I believe there's an incubator farm there. The Green Era, even though it's way far south, you know, Tim, I really think we need to include that. So this would be a good day. It'll be, if we have all these stops, it'll be a great full day. And then as far as date, I'm thinking more like in August. A lot of farms are in full fury at that point, and there is a lot to see. There'll be a lot to talk about, and visually it'll be a very rewarding experience for all these locations. We can drill that down with our meeting committee for the field day. I just wanted to put those feelers out there for that. And we have a next slide.
Michelle, a couple things on this slide and for the participants as well. If we should have the link out. If not, we can put it in, but these are all linked to the web pages for each farm to help make a decision if there are too many. I don't know if there are too many or not right now. But this is sort of the list that had come up over the last two meetings. And then I think last year's was done in July, but I don't remember. And I don't think that matters, but just a
And
couple notes on these slides.
And some of these locations may say no, also.
That's right.
They might, you know, so I think just starting with kind of an A list, and eventually, you know, we could put a B list together as well. There's no shortage of, you know, farms to visit, locations to visit. Thank you, Laura, again, for putting together the budget items. We're looking for a stipend for the locations that host us. 250, 500. 250 is a very good, and I think that's a common stipend. Buses, I know for Northwest Indiana, they had one large bus. I don't know the price of that, but in the past, our two limo buses were about $4,000. Again, this will be something we'll have to talk about if we wanted to go with those two party buses again. If the areas we're going to are smaller, maybe that's a better fit. Or if we're going to go with one large charter bus. I don't have any.
I have.
Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, I can read out the two motor coaches that seat 38. Those were 1,315 a piece. So for two of those, the total was 2,630 for that was for the field trip last year for Congress. And then I can get what the price of the large motor coach is from Cardinal.
I do think the smaller ones are a better idea. So we did a tour for Farm Foundation Roundtable in 23. And I remember at Green Era, we had to park south of the campus because there was a low metro bridge that the bus couldn't get under. And so we had to park there and walk people a couple of blocks. And so I
Okay.
don't know what some of the other areas look like, but I suspect that they might have similar situations.
I think
Okay.
you're right that turning around can be an issue. It is
Yeah.
nice to be on one big bus where you have like the conversation going. I guess it will depend probably on the sites and the maneuverability. But I agree with you. It's hard to turn around some of the larger coaches in the city, probably especially.
So do you think we would be able to park at McCormick Place? Like if people met at McCormick Place, could we leave our cars there for the day and then return to McCormick Place? Is that the hope and plan?
I would think that's our plan.
They certainly have parking facilities.
Do they
I
let you
don't, what
park?
we should look at is their conference schedule, right?
Do they let people just pull in? I don't know. I'm asking.
Well, I think if we're touring there, then that would be a reason they would let us
Oh,
stay.
right. Yes. Okay. So meeting there and leaving the cars there. Yeah. I think that's a question that we need to flesh out with them. For
So
sure.
would we be doing the rooftop garden and the farm, Tim?
I would say that the rooftop garden, and then they'll take you inside and actually show you the culinary area where they prepare all of the food that they grow there. And I would say that was more popular on our tour than the garden itself was. So, there are options there. I guess that's the best way to say it.
Okay, lots of options. Okay, and then the two smaller buses, I think combined we had what, 50 people? And that's a good size unless we're looking for a larger group this year. Or are we gonna keep it at 50? So that's gonna kind of drive that as well.
I think 50 is a good number. Just we were threatening some of these places to bring 150 people and they were freaking out. And so we had to break it down into smaller groups. So I think 50 is a good number to aim for. Or we can go up to what, 78, 76 with those buses.
Yeah, 76. So maybe we'd want to cap it at like 70 just to 75 if there's attrition.
So 75, and that would be the two buses like that you had, Laura?
So the motor coaches, yeah, that would be 76 max. So I would say maybe registration depending on how many team members, planners, organizers, and presenters, maybe cap even registration at 70 and then have the 6 spots for the team.
Okay. And those motor coaches coaches, they're smaller? Is that
So those seat 38. They're not dramatically smaller, but they are a little bit smaller.
okay? Okay. So then instead of going with the limotainment as we did before, we can go with the 2 motor coaches.
Oh, actually, well, you know what I was forgetting that those were different. That was just what we used for Congress. Do we have the contact information for the limotainment? Or if you have
I
that,
do. Yes,
then
I
then
still.
that's great. Then you should get an estimate from them and see what that
Okay.
would be. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the last time it was like 3,600, but absolutely, I'll get a quote from limotainment and their availability.
Yeah, that's great. I forgot.
Two of
I was
the
going off of the most recent one.
same. And then if we were to do the two smaller buses, limotainment, whatever, it may be a good idea, kind of like something we talked about for like our Cook County or our Will County tour, Tim, is we could have buses at different places to kind of, keep things moving along. We don't have to have two buses trying to get everybody together.
I think that would be a better idea, and it would, I think, make these places more welcoming to the concept of our visits.
Okay. Then I will work on those type of logistics for the two buses, two different places.
Great.
And then food. Don't know. I don't think any of the locations can actually host a lunch. Do you know, Tim? I don't think any of them could.
Thought the plant could, but I'm not sure. Green
Okay.
Era, I'm sure could. They've got a huge parking lot and green space right next to it if we were to tent it, or do some pop-up tents. But I don't know that any of them have like tables and chairs and all the other sort of thing. And the other thing to think about is maybe going to a park, reserving a space in one of the parks and doing something there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and what could be a very convenient option would be food trucks. And everyone would get a ticket and they can enjoy the food truck. Again, it's kind of convenient. They could always get a permit to park in one of the parks. So yeah, just kind of throwing that out there as opposed to us dragging around box lunches.
Right.
Okay, if the food truck and a park is an option, I would have to assign that or find a volunteer to take that on. Microphone headsets, again, I could just order them up again like we did before, Laura.
Okay.
We'll base it on 100 like we did before. We had 103 microphones because we divided them up between the two buses, and I think it was almost just $800. So yeah, you're right on with that. Again, I could have those delivered to my office and take care of that.
Okay, that would be great.
So then miscellaneous is basically our supplies for the bus.
Snacks. Michelle, it was snacks. It was like wipes, things like that.
Water and
Yep.
all that good stuff. Yeah, $300 is pretty good. Again, I think for miscellaneous, yeah, I have to find somebody who would be willing to take that on. And I believe as far as the swag, Christina had offered to take care of that. Those would be, I believe there would be no cost to us. So yeah, so right now that's where we are. Should we with our planning team, perhaps take a poll as to what dates in August? Laura, maybe we could put that together later.
Okay.
Just so when we contact these locations, we'll know what works, what doesn't work. And we'll have to split up who's going to contact which location as well. When we get down to the full planning. And I will add those notes to your spreadsheet.
Okay, that's great.
Michelle, I'm not concerned, but we have a meeting listed for, I think, June 20th. for the cafe conversations, right? So that's what Bob and Tim spoke about. That next meeting on the 20th is dedicated to that. I'm not sure we have a July meeting for some of these options, and July is getting late. Do we want to set a time, early in June for this subcommittee to meet? How do you want to do this? Or do we want to try to get as much set today as we can so that we can all work individually and just maybe have I don't know, a quick meeting in early July, depending on the date?
Yeah, I think it'd be easier to maybe communicate via email to the participants that want to be involved. It would make planning that's how I had done it before. It just made it a little bit more seamless and everybody knows their role and it's kind of compressed each individual thing. Once we get a date set, we could probably have like a mini meeting.
Do we want to set the date today?
Yeah.
So from a site perspective, is August, early August or late August or like early September?
Between the 15th, go ahead.
I was just gonna say early September, you might start competing with school field trips.
That soon?
I don't know.
Are we gonna probably do this on a Friday?
I'm okay with that.
I think that's where we may have done that before. So I think, Laura, maybe we can look at August 15th, 22nd. And then
Yeah.
when we reach out to locations, would be like, these are the options. I'm assuming if they have their farmers markets, may not be on the Friday, maybe on the Saturday, Sunday. So if we find that's a problem, we could do during the week, but I really like the idea of the Friday.
Okay.
And then looking to, so where are we right now?
So I would say I would propose the 15th, the 22nd, or the 12th of September, just as three options. Stay away from the 5th, as is that the weekend of the week of Labor Day? Or I guess that could be an option. The 5th.
Okay, or the 12th. Okay. Yeah. So then we could have a little meeting in, oh, we have that maybe around the 17th
Of June or July?
of June. Yeah, because July it's getting a little late. Yeah, that would, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it would have to be June.
Okay. Do we want to do a small meeting on a Friday? Keeping it consistent with what we got going on
So
already.
we'll have two ag meetings that day. We'll have the one for the cafe, and then we'll have a
20th.
different one for the planning.
Could we do that?
Sure. Yeah, there's no, I mean, that's fine. We could do them back to back and people could stay on.
Yeah. And that, yeah, that gives us a kind of a deadline to get our ducks in a row too. And now all we need are more volunteers. So if
So I-
anybody has any ideas who to reach out to, yeah, I'm between Tim and Tim, I'm sure we can contact some of these locations.
Okay.
But other people to take on some roles would be helpful.
Yeah, we can continue to do a call for volunteers too, and if we identify some specific roles for that, that might be helpful.
Yeah. I will. Okay. I'll update the roles on the spreadsheet.
So, regarding the dates, I'm looking at a calendar and I was trying to do a quick search. And I obviously, I'm not integral to this. I actually think that I have a conflict on the 22nd. I've got drop-offs for college kids. But but I mean, from the planning's perspective, we'll have everything organized, so that's not an issue. But I just wanted to raise that right now. Is there a so what I'll do is I'll put together the poll for that. I can do that. Are there any other calls that you would like me to make to help out with that, Michelle, the planning?
You know, I think if we let me get the little organization, the roles that we kind of defined today,
Okay.
and then we'll do the outreach of what we still kind of, you know, need help with. And I think if we have more specifics on the needs, then we might get a few more helpers.
Okay.
Yeah, and then communicating within that group moving forward.
Okay.
And what will we charge?
So, looking at what we charged last time, oh, while I look that up, do you want to take a look at the draft for a landing page for the field day?
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Yeah. And so Northwest Indiana was $50 a person. And they sold out, if I remember correctly. I think that's probably a fair amount considering everything that, you know, we'll be putting together. Does everybody think $50 is acceptable? Of course, we will have a small scholarship for those that are unable.
Yeah, I guess let's, I think that works for me. And if we get a call on the buses that somehow there's been a big increase, we should probably consider if we want to raise that or not. This is what we have so far.
Oh, nice.
We can add the sites as they become available, and then we have a call for sponsorship. And then we can do a call for volunteers, which we can put up higher than the sponsorship levels once we just identify some of those roles. And you know what, I think when I do the form for the date preference, I'll put a few just ideas of volunteer roles that, planning volunteer roles, and to just kind of say, gauge what people are interested in. I can drop this link into the chat too. There we go.
Cool.
And Bob here, I got a couple thoughts. Number one, I'm thinking this is entirely in South Side of Chicago, isn't it? The title we might want to reflect the name of the tour. It's really South Side Chicago growing with ag.
Okay. I wasn't sure if the dates were the sites. Ted, when you
Yes.
have a chance, you have those hot links. If you want to share those, we can put those into the notes. Or just send me the slides and I'll grab them from there.
I'm putting slides in right now.
Great,
I'm
perfect.
just gonna link so they're there.
And then as for all the groups, maybe they're already networked. I can reach out today to Illinois Stewardship Alliance and Chicago Food Policy Action Council. There may be one person that could sort of help identify at least 5 of them, maybe not McCormick Place, but the others are all like community-based groups. So I will inquire. Is there a list of of where all we're going?
That's what
So
we're,
it's
I mean, is
in,
there a list that I could share with someone at Stewardship Alliance and SIFPAC? I will do that today.
yeah, it's in the presentation. It's that slide 5, Bob, and those are all linked to web pages of each place. So you can kind of see what each one does. I think 2 that are under the Chicago Botanic Garden umbrella, and each one
Okay.
is its own
Yeah.
organization after that.
But so you shared the PDF. Where'd I get the PDF? Is that?
So if you go into today's chat, Bob,
Okay. All right. I'll find it.
that
Thanks.
the last link it will take,
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, got it.
and then it
Okay,
has
thank.
hot links to the
Yeah, yeah.
spreadsheet that we were talking about,
Got it.
all
Thank
of
you.
that.
Okay.
I have to say I'm a little concerned that 6 places is a little aggressive, but I'll leave that up to you guys.
sorry, what did you say? You broke up.
I'm a little concerned that 6 stops is a little aggressive for a day. But I don't know.
We don't
I don't
expect
have as
everybody.
much. Yeah, and I don't have as much experience setting this kind of thing up as you guys do.
Yeah, well, I don't expect all locations to be like, yeah, come on. But even with 5 and having 2 buses, we should be okay. Green Era is the farthest south. That is the only location that could potentially drain some time as far as transportation from the city down there. That being said, that is not a location we want to omit. So it'd be a good opportunity for yeah, some bus speakers at that point. And yeah, Bob, if you get individuals involved and they have that sponsorship level, then that would be a great time for them to speak on the bus to our guests.
Okay.
If they choose to do so. And Bob, I will find out about the Conservation Fund's farm legend. If you don't.
Yeah.
mind.
Oh, yeah. Please. Yeah. I'll just reach out to see. Just let them know we're doing this. So it's really I'll just let you know. I'll circle back. I'll just start letting them know. What are the dates again that being considered?
We're
August,
looking for
September.
August 15th, 22nd, possibly September 12th.
Okay. All right. Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll carefully plan the logistics. It will probably be a longer day as opposed to how we had done it before, cutting off an early afternoon. But I think it'll be worth it. I think everybody enjoys the field days, and yeah, hopefully hopefully I could pull this off again. I have a lot of days in the field, so you guys, yeah, need me. My cell phone is probably the best. I'm pulling soil samples for the next month or so.
What is your cell,
Um,
Michelle? I'll put it in Session Lab.
Oh, yeah, my work cell is 630-470-0990.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I guess I guess the best way is how can we support you as just as things get going, and feel free to just like share by email what you find from any of the sites. You mentioned a food truck. Was that a specific location that we would go to for the food truck, or was there a thought there that I missed? I missed capturing that in the.
I do not have any thoughts on a location or yeah,
Got
just kind of free forming it there, just throwing that out there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
then
and maybe go
you
ahead.
feel good about the landing page. We can get that up and running. And we'll, because that just has information will be coming soon, and then we can put some to join the
Yeah.
planning committee to reach out. And then it will have the sponsorship links live there, so there's no reason why that can't be shared, Bob, with any of the contacts or from any of the outreach that we do. And we can update it as sites are confirmed and as the date's confirmed.
And just so you know, Bob, we are terming it a Cook County field day. I don't think we need to hone into South Side Chicago, because a lot of them are from McCormick, you know. It's just the way our field days have been before per county, so just saying.
Yeah, right. I guess where I'm thinking you were mentioning the idea of needing a couple. It's kind of like, um, how do we create the demand? It's sort of like put in place the logistics system so the next group's able to just kind of replicate it. But um, uh, which is kind of like a sort of an aside to the others who have listened in. This has been a very nuts and bolts call, right? Where we're the three field days, each one has been really energizing. And so we're just trying to build a momentum. And that's why, maybe we call it Cook County just to keep with the framework, but start a narrative around, well, this is really city of Chicago, and we should look at South Cook and we should look at North Cook, more as a sort of a media thing. But so
That
I'm
would be great
fine with however
content.
anyone wants to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be great content for the landing page.
Yeah, I'll think of something. I'll reach out to a couple of these groups and just see how they could get involved. They kind of have like right after the legislative session ends, maybe there'll be some time and energy, but I'll let you know as soon as I find things out.
Okay. Okay, I'm just reading the notes.
Okay. Um,
Oh, yeah, you're
I-
right, Laura. Michael Young. That's my
yeah, I
guy.
found it. Once you said the name Limotainment, I just did a search in my inbox. I had forgotten all about that one. Okay, Ted.
A couple
Go
of
ahead.
clarifying questions. The first one is to come up with the final date, we're sending out a poll to the meeting mailing list or to the people that typically come to the meeting. I'm confused. Or are we just deciding it?
I think our planning team are, well, actually, anybody that has a stake.
Well, the reason I'm
in it.
asking Michelle is because I might be helpful with figuring out the catering and the lunch. I might be
Okay.
able to take that up, but obviously that depends on a date, right? So that's why I was asking how that might get done or when we would know,
Oh,
if I do adopt that area to pick up.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I think our leadership and everybody that we have already gotten confirmed of volunteering and everybody on this call. It's not a huge pool of people, but I think these are the people most interested. And especially between me, you, Tim and Laura, Maria Sadowski. You know, not a huge group. Is that okay, Laura?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it really is the names that you added to the spreadsheet and I think that's great. I think we just move forward. I think it can be just a quick eh, conversely, I think that based on what we've just had in this conversation from this group, if it's a Friday, we're talking about those 3 Fridays. Does it matter? I mean, is it more based on the locations and going to the sites and saying, these are the Fridays that we're thinking about and just confirming that those are available? Do you all have a preference for one of the dates over the other?
I personally do not, but I note that the Friday in September date is very bad for me and I would not be able to go. Not that that means anything. But
And that was the 12th, not the 5th, right?
Yeah, please,
Yeah.
yeah.
So does the 5th work for people? I was steering clear. I may have misspoke. I was steering clear of the 1st because that was the Friday before Labor Day weekend, but the 5th is a possibility.
Well, and I also have those 2 dates free in August, so,
Okay.
right, that's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, well, and you're right, September 5th would be, it would be difficult. A lot of people do take that week as vacation. So,
And anybody that's back to school isn't going to a field trip on a Friday back to school. I hate to say
yeah.
it. For
Um,
Okay.
those that go late
So
and
then are we
not in
just,
the middle of August.
so then we just stick with the 15th and the 22nd as the two options and just go with those dates? That's fine. It makes it easier.
Yeah, let's try that.
And then, I mean, then I don't think we need to do a poll. What I would do is probably go to the organizations and say those are the two dates, and then
Okay.
I would use that as a starting point for that.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
So I'll reach out to several networks this afternoon, and then like by Monday morning, I can report back to y'all if this has panned out into anything, or we just need to go one-on-one to each one. You know what I mean? Unless someone's plan. Yeah, okay. I'll circle back by Monday with any update.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob, because I think Tim probably has a connection at one or two of these organizations, so.
I'm sorry, what was the first part of that?
Tim may have connections, a contact person at one or two of these organizations, so, yeah, so when he comes back, we'll divide it up, via email, and that'll work. And
Great.
yeah, as soon as you get, people involved, even better. Okay?
See what I can come up with.
Alexis,
Yep.
actually, would you just share your email address in the chat, and I'll make sure that you're added. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
All right, yeah,
you.
this is a great start. I really appreciate
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
everything.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. Thank
All
you.
right, great
Jill,
week.
Jillian. I will add you both. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You good? I know you don't like just